If you're dating or married to someone that has an anxious attachment, these are 3 things that you have to know. Number 1, when triggered, they might come off as very aggressive and emotional. They grew up in a household where their needs and feelings were invalidated or ignored. They're just trying to feel heard, not put you down. And number 2, when they text a lot and demand constant reassurance and communication, they're scared of being alone and abandoned, which is what they experienced during childhood. Their constant need for reassurance is a cry for help. They're not trying to control you. Number 3, they might unconsciously pick fights with you and push your buttons. This was the only way that they could get a crumb of attention as a child. And so they do this to feel more connected to you emotionally. They're seeking connection. They're not trying to hurt you. Now, the wake-up call is that if any of these things trigger you, I guarantee you that you have an avoidant attachment and have a full bag of your own unhealed childhood trauma as well. And also keep in mind that no one is 100% anxious or avoidant. No one is really 100% secure either. We all have a mixed bag of one or the other. Regardless of your attachment style or your childhood traumas, all of this can be healed with a lot of work and commitment, which is a journey that I guide clients through. To continue your journey, follow me for more.
If you're feeling anxious about a relationship in your life right now, this video is for you. I just want to start off by saying, with someone who has an anxious attachment style, a little bit of anxiety is okay. You're probably going to be triggered by one thing or another. The triggers are always going to pop up. It's normal. It's when you get triggered constantly, you're on a constant cycle of anxiety with a person, is when it's unhealthy. Let's start with the root cause. If you're feeling a lot of anxiety in a relationship, it's because you feel like you don't have control over the situation. You cannot control another person's behavior, because real love is trusting another person to unfold the way that they need to in a relationship, trusting that they will make the best decisions for the relationship, trusting that they have your best interest at heart, and trusting yourself that if anything did go wrong, that you would have the power and you would have the courage to walk away from any situation that was no longer serving you. And if you're experiencing large amounts of anxiety in a relationship or with a certain person, it is likely that you do not trust that person, you don't trust the process, and you do not trust yourself. So here is how I fix it. And I'm not gonna lie, it has been a constant reminder to myself when I do catch feelings for someone. Number 1, I am the prize, and if this person can't see that, then they're insane and I don't want to deal with them anyway. Number 2 is that if this person is giving me large amounts of anxiety, I know in my gut, that is my instinct telling me that something is wrong and this is not my person. If it's a little bit of anxiety and he hasn't given me any real reason to worry, I remind myself that if something were to go wrong, I would be strong enough to walk away whenever something is not serving me. Until that happens, allowing the space, the time, chill out and relax, it will all unfold the way that it needs to. Stop thinking so far ahead and stop thinking about the worst possible outcomes. Stop coming up with them in your heads. Yes, it has gone wrong in the past. If they haven't given you any reason to worry or question the relationship, let it unfold. Take a step back, relax. What if the best possible outcome could come out of this instead of thinking about the negative things that could happen? Because I promise you, the more you're focused on the negative outcome, the more that is going to be a possibility. And you will self-sabotage until that becomes your reality. Anyway, if you struggle at all with this attachment style, if you have found that you are very anxious in relationships, I work a lot with anxious attachment styles, so hit the link in my bio if you want to work one-on-one.
This is one of the easiest ways that I healed my anxious attachment. I used to be really anxiously attached, my husband used to be really avoidant, and now we have a secure marriage. Simply shifting your focus is the best way to heal your relationship anxiety. Because the biggest mistake that I see people make is that they try to control the other person. And I don't know if you've caught on, but trying to control other people is just a waste of time and energy. So instead of focusing on making them do or act or be a certain way, shifting your focus from things that are out of your control, which are all the external things, and then turning them inward puts you back in charge. Because we are not in control, but we certainly are in charge. You're in charge of your feelings, your thoughts, how you perceive things. That is claiming your power. And so often when you're anxiously attached, you feel out of control. Now, if shifting your focus inward is really hard, that's okay, because that just means you need to work on creating observational awareness. Because observational awareness is the bedrock for emotional intelligence, so you want to work on that. And if you're still working on that or need help, tell me in the comments.
Reassure your anxious partner. Anxious preoccupied attachment styles love closeness and fear abandonment. So you might see them constantly trying to text you, talk to you, get attention and closeness from you. But if you consistently show up for their needs and model to them what a secure relationship looks like, they will slowly become secure. Because the anxious attachment style doesn't usually have a big wound of distrust, they're more likely to become secure when their partner is secure. This isn't to say that you should fix them, because that's not your responsibility. But what you want to do is consistently show up for them and create a safe space for them to share their emotions and be vulnerable. Set healthy boundaries and expectations in the relationship so you don't enable their behavior. Talk about how you guys can show each other love through each other's love languages. Make sure both of y'all feel seen and heard when you're communicating, and be patient with each other. Encourage each other to grow and seek help if necessary. As always, you got this.
You're frustrated with an avoidant partner, let me give you some extra insight. A person with an anxious attachment will often tell their partner, "Why won't you let me love you?" Now, in the avoidant's mind, they do love you, and it shows up throughout the relationship. The avoidant learned at an early age that their thoughts, feelings, and emotions didn't matter. The avoidant feels like they're doing the best they can to meet their partner's needs, so when the anxious partner shows irritation, frustration, or is requiring more of the avoidant, they tend to run away because they have an activated nervous system. And the coping mechanism that the avoidant created for themselves was to pull away from the situation. And when the avoidant pulls away, this causes the anxious person to want to chase after them. Both the anxious and the avoidant feel rejected in this scenario. And the avoidant may say, "I don't feel like I can give you what you want." Or they will say, "I don't feel good enough for you." And if this message resonated with you, hit the plus sign and share with somebody else who needs to hear this.
The moment you start falling in love, your brain starts to work out how and when this person is going to leave you. They're going to leave you at some stage. And then you almost try and predict and control the elements that may lead to them withdrawing from you. So you will enter a relationship and assume at some point they're going to cheat on you, or at some point they're going to hurt you. And what you'll do is the moment you get together with them, you launch your investigation. You start to look for evidence that this person is not right for you. But in the process of looking for that evidence, you start to get preoccupied with them and you form a bit of an obsession. So you're getting more attached. So you're digging for gold, you're digging for that evidence that this person's wrong for you. But in that process of digging, you become so invested in that person that you're now super attached to this person. And only they can soothe you. So you might get really, really anxious and you might be stressed and you might be like thinking, when am I going to hear from them? When am I going? And only when you get a text from them, only when you get a phone call from them, does your anxiety drop and you can finally breathe again. But when there's separation, the anxiety increases, only drops when you hear from them. So you live in this constant state of heightened anxiety with your partner, and you only feel calm when you're connected. You don't feel calm outside of that.
If you suffer from anxious attachment, I'm going to tell you something that might shift everything for you, but I'm going to tell you quietly because we've got home goal over here. If you suffer from anxious attachment, you need to reframe how you see it. You think that you're obsessed with someone. You think you need their validation. You think you need their approval, their time, their effort. What you're really seeking is the return of your own energy that you've invested in them, as opposed to keeping it in your own vessel, in your own body, and using that energy in your own progress in life. What do I mean? When you have anxious attachment, you think you need that other person for survival, so you prioritize them, you put them first, you do everything for them, you meet their needs, you become depleted as a person. If you are a cup, there is no water left in you. There is no fire left in you. There is no light that shines from you. You are depleted. And then you look at them and you see that light, that water, that energy that you've put into them. It's all about energy. You've put all that energy into them and you think, wow, look at them. They're amazing. The pedestal that you've put them on is the pedestal that you've built. It's the energy that you've given them. It's the light that you've given them. What you miss is that energy and you want it back. Trust me, it's not the person, it's the energy. Reclaim your energy. Say to yourself, every person I've given my energy to, I take it back in the nicest way possible, in the purest way possible. I just need my energy back to myself. Say that mantra to yourself, and when it comes to other people, put yourself first as a practice for a month, 2 months, 1 month, a week, whatever you're comfortable with. As unnatural as it feels, put yourself first. Put that energy into yourself first. It feels scary because you think nobody's going to want to be around you, because the paradigm you're used to is that people only want you for what you do for them. But the reality is very, very opposite. And in order to believe that, you need to see it to believe it. So for a month, put yourself first, because essentially you are going to be overflowing with energy, with metaphoric water. If it's a cup, you're going to be overflowing. So that person's going to get from you what you intended to give them anyway. That's the reality. But you're not going to be obsessed with them, because you will be replenishing yourself first, and you will inevitably become a secure person. You'll be investing in yourself. You'll understand that you're worth something. You'll understand that people are gravitating towards you because of the secure attachment that you are exemplifying. But you need to try it in order to believe it. So from today, for the month of January, let's put ourselves first and see how it changes your life.
For you to be a good partner to me, someone with an avoidant attachment, I need you to tolerate some of your distress. And for me to be a good partner to you, someone with an anxious attachment, I need to be able to tolerate a little more closeness. Hi, my name is Naj. I'm a therapist, and I'm also someone with an avoidant attachment style. If you're also someone with an avoidant attachment style, or are with someone who is, I'm here to make things a little easier for you. So during a conflict, our attachment wiring is triggered, and neither one of us is thinking all that rationally. The anxious person is in distress, and they're trying to use their survival strategy of trying to get their partner to soothe them with closeness. Meanwhile, the avoidant partner is trying to stay present, but they're pushing back against their own survival strategy that's telling them to shut down or run away. If you want to do this right, meaning you want to repair, you want to have a conversation, you want to get to the bottom of this, it means that both of you are going to have to push back against very deeply ingrained behaviors and feelings, even while you're in the midst of feeling like the other person isn't really seeing you. You can probably see why these two types of people are in conflict a lot. The avoidant person here has to realize that their partner needs more closeness from them. And if they shut down and back away like they're used to, it will only confirm their anxious partner's deepest fear. That no one's going to be there for them, that no one can love them the way that they need. Which, to be honest, is really weird for us. Because the avoidant person, when we're in distress, we just want to be left alone. During this conflict, the anxious person has to be able to say, okay, I need them to take care of me right now. I need them to be closer, but I'm noticing that they're shutting down, they're backing away. How much can they actually tolerate? It's starting to become clear to me that if I don't get a little more containment, they're going to feel like nothing they do is enough, and they're going to completely shut down and feel pushed away. Now keep in mind, this is for a couple that has history together, that they're invested and involved and have a pretty strong foundation. If you're in a relationship with no consistency, this high level of emotional generosity probably won't work.